Welcome back to the State 48 Homeowner Podcast, where we help you be the best homeowner that you can be in the great state of Arizona. This week, we're diving into something that every homeowner and future homeowner should be paying attention to: the Arizona housing market. Earlier this month, we had an incredible live stream event where I was joined by Steve Farrington of Unity Home Loans and Kraig Klaus and Twila Edwards from the Klaus team. And we broke down what really is happening in the East Valley real estate market. We had a pretty fun live stream event with tons of great questions and plenty of insights. And now we've taken all of the best moments, commentary, and data from that live stream, and we've curated it down into a streamlined episode just for you. So whether you're renting, buying, selling, or just trying to stay informed, you're in the right place. So let's jump into the June East Valley real estate market update right here on State 48 Homeowner.
Hi, I'm Kenny Klaus, and this is State 48 Homeowner.
Right now, we're basically in kind of a stagnant market when it comes to in terms of sales to inventory. Over the last month or so, we've seen inventory start to decline for the first time in a while. I think we're having some sellers taking off the market. Heading into kind of the summer is kind of a slower time for new listings to hit too. So that's kind of the good news as far as it's kept prices a little bit more stable, and great opportunities out there for buyers right now. And it just, again, it's right now it's kind of in line with the way it was in 2014, just kind of a balanced market, and just a little bit fewer transactions than we'd normally like to see.
And I think it's been so long since we've seen a true balanced market that it makes sellers a little bit nervous, and buyers definitely have more advantages. I wouldn't say buyers are completely in the driver's seat, but they definitely have more advantages out there, getting closing costs, negotiating price, negotiating repairs, things like that. So
Emily, one of our past clients, said, I saw a recent report that Arizona has seen some price drops. What does this mean for home values?
All right. Yeah, in certain areas, I think definitely from the peak, you're going to see a little bit of that. I think if you have that one chart, Scott, that I sent, that kind of shows that, maybe some recent dips in the Phoenix area, a little down 2.8% year over year is kind of their number, but up, as you can see, overall 47%. So overall, prices have maintained and held in a very low transaction count market. So that is due in large part to the lack of inventory overall, meaning we do not still have enough homes for people that want to buy them once affordability comes back into line better.
I also think some of the price corrections that we're seeing are just sellers having to come to reality of where we're at now, versus you can't just put it on and get what you want. You may not get what your neighbor got 3 months ago if your house isn't as nice. So
36% of sellers made at least one price correction before they sold. And I think that's over the last 4 months in recent sales. So it's not uncommon. I think the biggest thing is understanding not to panic, not to make $5,000 and $10,000 price corrections every 10 days. It's to really look at the data, look at the list to sale price ratio. How many showings are you getting? And what do we need to do to get into a different bracket of buyers that aren't seeing it now?
Noah wants to know, what's the market like, trends, rates, inventory?
Twila, go ahead.
yeah, we've kind of touched on some of that. Inventory has slowed down a little bit. I think today we were around 29,000, where last month we were just over 30,000. So a little bit lower, but again, I think that's because some people took their houses off. I think we're getting into the busy time of year. Maybe people aren't listing their houses. So yeah, definitely not as many buyers out there. If those rates would come down a little bit, we would all be a little bit busier, I think. So
Steve, talk to us about rates.
Well, I mean, rates today closed right around 6.93% for the average 30-year fixed. Higher than where we really wanted to be and where we've seen in recent weeks. But it's kind of the trend of what we've experienced over the last 18 months, as we've kind of fluctuated between 6.5 and 7.125 for the better part of, I think it's going on literally 16 months right now. And just the uncertainty in the market is what's causing it. It's really causing that volatility. There's some spread issues between, the 30-year fixed and the 10-year treasury, which should come down and compress with some of the things that the current administration is looking to put into place, deregulating some of the bank requirements, allowing them to purchase U.S. Treasuries, which will drive yields down, increasing the price of those U.S. Treasuries. And that's the hope as we head into the latter part of this year. Of course, inflation's remained tame, which is always a good spot. And the employment is starting to slow a little bit. So those are really the key factors that should play into interest rates coming down over the next 6 to 12 months. But of course, there's no guarantees in that happening.
So Erica asked the big question, is it a good time to buy or sell, and why?
I say it's still a great time to buy. If you're renting a house right now, you're paying someone else's mortgage anyway. So let's talk. Let's find out what the best option is for you. There's several programs out there right now, down payment assistance. We have Community Heroes, or you've just saved your money and you're ready to buy a house. But we all know when interest rates do go down eventually, it's going to get busy out there again. So I think if you're on the fence to buy, I think it's still a great time to buy.
Well, and I agree with Twila. It's like we've mentioned in the past, and I think we've kind of repeated the same message, is that every time we have seen that dip in interest rates, when they come down, even a quarter point. So if rates tomorrow dip to 6.625 from where they are today, I think that we would see buyer activity increase, meaning purchase applications. You'd have more interest. We'd start getting more calls for people, on listings, just because of that slight movement. And that it really just kind of adds to that kind of positive energy and gets the buyers really kind of off the fence.
Twila, you mentioned rent. Give me a rent figure.
I feel like $2,200 to $2,500 is pretty common out here.
$2,200?
Yes.
So let's say you were renting for 4 years. You would have given your landlord $105,600.
And we talk to people often that have been renting for 4 years, 5 years, because time just goes. They're like, I'm going to rent for a year. And then before they know it, it's 4 years later. So that's a really good number.
That figure is, you just don't realize how fast it adds up. It's $26,400 a year over 4 years, $105,600.
Well, and then if we go back and look at that other chart you had of what prices have done in the last 4 or 5 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So as a landlord, thank you to all the renters, but we want to see people move into home ownership. We want to see people build generational wealth through home ownership and make that transition.
Well, the median rent in 85209 right now is $2,300 a month.
Yeah. So the median renter, right? The median renter over 4 years has given their landlord $105,000. So, and when we talk about a good time to buy, buyers have choice right now. Buyers have a little bit more push and play. They have a little bit more ability to negotiate than they did over the past couple of years. Mm-hmm. And sellers are not giving everything away. It's actually kind of a nice place for both parties. Would you guys agree?
Yes.
Yes, we'd like to see transaction counts pick up, obviously, but I think the balance in the market is healthy. The last 5 years was not healthy, and if anything, it maybe catches us up a little bit on inventory, but not anywhere near enough yet. So I think it's definitely time to have more of a balanced, healthy market and rein in some of this, affordability issue that we have with prices going up and rates going up.
Let's talk about the benefit of home ownership, renter versus homeowner net worth. It's a little different.
Well, this is where you kind of said earlier, you figured out the number that people are paying to a landlord every year. So there's that's going towards your principal, which at the beginning, it's a very small amount. Let's not kid ourselves. But eventually it starts being more and more. Also, over the life of your loan and however long you've lived there, appreciation is going to help get you there also.
Another thing that happens too is there's a different mindset.
I was just going to say that, Scott, especially with the younger people, like becoming a homeowner versus a renter you will see a change and a difference in maturity and growth and things in that. I've seen it firsthand.
Yeah. Well, and something to remember too is when you're talking about building that net worth, when you're buying a home, you're buying, let's just call it a $400,000 asset. Typically, if you're only putting 5% down, which is $20,000, so your initial investment, we'll kind of leave closing costs out of it, but initial investment of $20,000, but your $400,000 home in 5 years is now worth, $518,000. You've just gained $118,000 on a $20,000 investment. So your ROI, or return on investment, is significantly more than if you had to go out and buy a share of Berkshire Hathaway stock for $110,000. You've got to come up with $110,000, not $20,000. So that return on investment of that initial investment, and the cost can be significant, and that's why getting prepared and saving for it. But when you look at the average net worth of a homeowner versus a renter, and this has been, you could go back before 2019 and it just continues to grow.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that a lot of people don't understand and apply to the idea is that it is a rare investment that we are able to apply our housing cost to an investment. We can't do that with our vehicle costs.
Right.
Our vehicle costs, what I spend on my truck is not an investment. My truck is a depreciating item. My home is an appreciating item. It's not depreciating, it's appreciating. My truck is depreciating. So everything I spend on my truck is a loss. Everything I spend on my home is an investment. And
go back to that chart from the beginning. Only other than 2008 through 2011, you had one other year where there was home price didn't appreciate. And there's a lot of fear over, it's going to crash because of what happened before, right? It goes up really big and then everybody assumes it has to, but the fundamentals are so different that if you're buying a house today with the idea of you're going to be in it 3 to 5 to 7 years, you're going to have appreciation at the end of that time frame. If you're looking to buy it and sell it in 6 months, probably not. But the homeowner today is typically, I think it's gone up to 8 to 10 years. Its average length of stay. You just look historically, you're not going to be in a worse position. That's for sure. You're not going to lose money in that in the long term. And it's easy to hop on X or online social media and to create a quick video saying the market's going to crash. I follow a couple guys that for the last 3 years, every month they keep saying it's going to crash. It's going to crash. I guess you just figure at some point, maybe if you get lucky and you're right one time, that's the only one people will remember. But there's no fundamental behind it. There's no data behind it. They don't have any real reasons behind it. Last month we had 73 trustee deeds in Maricopa County. But we also averaged about 4,000 a month in 2008 through 2011. So we've got a long ways to go before any of that kind of stuff happens. And people are sitting on too much equity.
Well, thank you guys so much. If you're watching and you have any other questions, you can always reach out to us at klausteam.com. If you want to see our menu of services, you can see it at klausteam.com/call us first. And you can reach out to us at 480-354-7344. And thanks to our panelists, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for spending time with us this week at State 48 Homeowner, the ins and outs of owning an Arizona home. You can connect with us for more information, submit topics you'd like us to further discuss. You can see relevant videos, give us feedback, answer your real estate questions, and more at state48homeowner.com.